Why am I moving to Spain? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the soft launching of martial law by the President of the United States. Maybe it's the fact that people sitting in our government system are siding with Christian nationalists who want to remove the right for women to vote. Maybe it's the fact that there's an official filing now to overturn the right of same-sex marriage. Maybe it goes all the way back to when Roe versus Wade was overturned, knowing then, right then, that we as women are completely fucked. It's never been about protecting children. It's never been about immigrants doing it the legal way. And it's definitely never been about lowering the price of fucking eggs. What it has been completely about this entire time is control, money, power, authoritarianism, the patriarchy, but it's never been about the people. None of this has ever been about the people. So we the people are fucking leaving.
Americans are leaving this country in record numbers. And I'm not talking about vacation. I'm talking packing their bags, booking their flights, and leaving for good. In the first few months of 2025 alone, the amount of people that just said, I'm done, and moved abroad doubled from the year before. That's not just a blip, okay? That's a wave. So why? Same reasons you and I complain about every day. Cost of living going through the roof, political chaos that never seems to end, and the fear of safety even when you're just going to the grocery store. But here's the thing, it's not just dreamers or millionaires doing it. It's normal people. It's people with families. It's young people, old people, retirees, people who are working remote. One common thread holding all of these people together is they just want a dignified life. That's why you're seeing places like Greece, Spain, France, Portugal. Their cafes are filling up with Americans who are just done. People love to scream, if you don't like it, leave. Well, we are, thousands and thousands of us. We will be joining that wave soon.
Today's my last day here in my house. Tomorrow I leave for Bali indefinitely, and it just feels like very bittersweet, so surreal. And I truly, I love my house. I love my house. This has been my home for the past year and a half where I've really sought refuge. This has been my haven. And yes, I'm moving to Bali, and it's very bittersweet, and it sucks. I just I can't live here anymore.
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only 2 genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the U.S. spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues. Immigrations, taxes, Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
Starting to see people on this app say okay, when is your now's my time to get out moment? Now is the time to now I'm gonna leave. When is your this is the moment? Is it when they start arresting journalists? When is it? Guys, for us, it was a year ago. It was a year ago. And it took us about 9 months, beginning to end, to get out of the country. So if you are thinking about possibly leaving, or if you have a way to possibly get out, or you want to start researching and looking into ways to maybe leave, do it now. The best time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Start now. Because look at what's been going on and all the crazy things that have happened. We moved in April, and I cannot believe the amount of insane things that have been happening in the last 3 months alone. Imagine where we're going to be 3 months from now. Start now.
Fellas, welcome back to the channel. Americans are leaving the states in the masses. Well, why, you may ask? Well, most of them just want to breathe. They want to breathe from financial stress and political stress. But have you ever felt like your payday was feeling like a joke? You know, your rent is rising more than your paycheck. The TV news keeps saying that it's getting better, but you know that it's not. You know, you're not alone, because more Americans are packing up their bags and leaving the United States more than ever. You know, heading out of the country, looking for greener pastures, because the promise of America being the place where everybody makes it is actually proving to be elusive. And that is exactly why people are just packing up their bags and leaving the country just to breathe from the cost of living, you know, getting unbearable, and to breathe from political climate, especially since a lot of people do not actually agree with the orange man's policies and his way of leadership. So many Americans are feeling like they were sold a lie, because many were promised that if you work harder in the States, you are actually going to make it. But a lot of people are feeling like working harder is just for you to stay in place, for you to actually survive, not for you to make it in the country. And this is exactly why you'll find that a lot of people from rural areas, a lot of people from the city, a lot of people from black and brown communities are struggling, because the economy is actually tanking, and they're feeling that something has shifted and the promise is slipping away. But let's check these videos that are compiled for you guys. Let's take a look at these people and what they're saying about their reason of packing up their bags and leaving. Is it the orange man, MAGA, and his policy, or is it the cost of living? Let's take a look. I'll be back with more commentary after this.
All right, guys, I'm just going to say it. I'm leaving the country because I can't see a doctor here. I'm self-employed. I pay hundreds of dollars a month for health insurance, and yet every time I need something, oh, your doctor's not in network. Oh, we don't cover that. Oh, we assign you your primary care doctor 4 hours away and he's booked until October. Like, what am I even paying for? People always say, well, healthcare is bad in my country too. It can't be this bad. It cannot be this dire of a situation. There are no doctors here in Florida. Whatever long waits or paperwork you're dealing with, at least your system exists. I feel like here everything is such a paywall. It's like a maze that just leads to a trap every time. Ever since I got my own health insurance, I've been forced to switch every year, because every single year the insurance companies drop my area and we're like down to one left. This was the only plan I could get that wasn't $200 more a month. But less and less doctors are taking these plans. So no one can see the doctor, and the doctors you can find are booked out for like 4 months. When I did sign up for this plan, they told me that the doctor was covered that I already had, so I signed up for it. And then when I went to select my doctor, they're like, oh, never mind, they're not in network. So I'm done. I am just removing myself from this system because it does not work for me. I'm sure it does not work for many other people, but my solution is to leave it. I'm moving to Portugal. I know it's probably not perfect there, but it has to be better than what it is here, because at least there they have a system. Here, I don't know what's going on. It's collapsing. It's not working. I mean, I'd have to imagine at the very least, if I'm sick there, I could find a doctor and see a doctor. I don't think I'm being dramatic. This is the reality. We live in the country with the supposed best healthcare in the world, and I can't find a doctor. Does anyone else feel this hopeless, or is it just me?
So Americans don't want to live in America anymore. Let's talk about it. I think it's a very normal feeling right now that people don't want to live here. I mean, the idea of the American dream is just gone, and everyone in my comment section says the American dream now is to leave America, and that seems to be a resounding sentiment all throughout the internet right now. People want to go. People want to go somewhere else. This doesn't feel like it's it for us. This doesn't feel like it's good for us, and by us, I mean anybody. If you're not in the top 10, the top 5% of this country feels like it's not a place where you can make it, because for the most part, it isn't a place that you can make it. The working poor and the working class are struggling just to stay off the streets, and there's no respite to come. There's no support from the government. There's no support from our neighbors because we don't know them. Our families are broken, so we have no one to fall back to. It just feels hopeless for a lot of people. So of course, there's a natural feeling that I want to go find my peace, my happy life, wherever I can. And it doesn't feel like we can have that in America for a lot of us. And that's why you're seeing people all over TikTok, all over YouTube say that they're leaving the country. They want to leave the country and just go. They don't care what the destination is, they just want to go. I think that this is actually something that really hits to the core of our American past, to actually, go forth and find your place in the world. And I don't begrudge anybody, nor should you, who is pursuing that kind of peace in their life. A lot of people say that you should stay here and fight to change things, but it feels like you're in an insurmountable battle, right? The task before us is daunting, and it doesn't appear that there's any kind of change in our lifetimes that is going to happen. The only change that we can actually see happening in this country is change for the worse. And that's something a lot of people don't want to deal with. And I don't think that that's cowardice. I think that it's just like a natural sense of survival to want to leave, to want to jump out of a burning boat, and try to swim to shore. Because that's what it is. It's not an easy thing, and there's no guarantee to leave this country that it's going to work out. Right? There's no guarantee that that's going to happen. It might go bad. You might get to a place and you might hate it. You might learn that people don't want you there. And that is a sentiment that a lot of the world is having when it comes to Americans, when it comes to tourists. All you have to do is go on the internet, and you can see the protest all over South America, Central America, all over the Mediterranean. For what digital nomads, for what expats, passport bros, and tourism in general has destroyed local economies and put people in a position where they can't have the dream that their country may have once provided them. The population of normal people has been very destabilized in this world right now at this time. But we all have to find our place. And that's what a lot of people are choosing to do. Leave America. This isn't your home anymore. And go find your place. Well, not everybody can do that. Of course, not everybody can do that. But it's not just the wealthy people that are trying to do that now. It's working people who've just scraped up enough money to give it a shot. Because that's what you have to do in life sometimes. You just have to take your best shot at your best life. Whether that's starting a business, quitting your job to get a better job, leaving your country to find the best place out there for you. Not just the best place, but to find your people that you can get along with. Because when you look here, when you walk down the street here, number one, do you even see anybody? My street's always empty. This is a very peaceful, quiet neighborhood. Yes, I have very little to actually complain about when it comes to my life. I've worked very hard to have my family have a good life in a nice, quiet neighborhood with trees and grass, right? And a house and a yard. I understand that. We're very fortunate that way, and it's taken a lot of hard work, but that's not the case for most people. And when I walk down the street, I don't see anybody. I've never see anybody. There's no kids playing. There's no people going for walks. It's just not something that we do in America anymore, and it feels like we're just waiting to die. That's what it feels like. Americans, they just work, they come home, and they wait for the next day by day, month by month, and year by year. It all goes by until it's just gone. And maybe you've retired, or maybe you're just gonna die at the counter, die at your desk. People don't want that. Nobody should want that. That is not a way to live. If you think that the only way that you can actually escape the rat race, but it's beyond just the rat race now, it's just that fight for survival because you don't want to do it anymore. If the only way that you think you can do that and get away from it is to leave the country and go somewhere cheaper and try to make it somewhere else, then so be it. Believe in yourself and just make the jump and go.
Living in America has gotten insane. And I'm not just talking about vibes. I'm talking about your wallet, your health, and your sanity. Owning a house has become a pipe dream for the majority of Americans. We're dependent on cars, and it costs an arm and a leg to get anywhere. And don't even get me started on healthcare. The state I live in, finding a doctor is like finding gold. And that's if you have insurance and you can pay for it. And for what? The US ranks dead last in healthcare outcomes among developed countries. dead last. All my comments to say America's the best. Not in this. We are last in this. And it's not just the money, it's the burnout, it's the wages, it's the hustle culture, it's all of these things added together. Throw in some political chaos every single day, and I'm looking around and I know I'm not the only one thinking this isn't sustainable. That's why more and more people are moving abroad. They want to live somewhere where going to the doctor isn't having a mini panic attack, where life isn't just surviving till Friday, where you don't have to prove 3 times rent. It's why a lot of Americans are asking, is this worth staying? For a lot of people, me included, the answer is no. We are moving abroad next year. If you're curious what that life looks like, stick around. Because at the end of the day, people like you and me are just looking for lives of dignity. And right now, we don't have that.
All right, folks, where are Americans going to? They're going to South America, they're going to Europe, they're going to Bali, Indonesia, Thailand, Africa. They're just actually realizing that, wait a minute, I get better quality of life elsewhere than I do in my own country. That is exactly why most Americans are actually packing up their bags and leaving. Now, there's some simple points that I want to point out of why Americans are basically leaving the country. And number one, of course, is quality of life and the cost of living. Because if you look at people, what they've been sold in the States, the States is actually the biggest economy in the world, the most strongest power in the world. And they think that the world actually revolves around the States. But a lot of people actually, especially those Americans who have traveled even a bit in their lives, as getting to Mexico or Canada, they have actually realized that, wait a minute, actually life is better in these other countries than it is in my own country. My dollar goes a long way in these countries than it does in my own country, and the quality of food is better, the cost of living is lower, because right now most Americans are actually going up online ranting and complaining of how the cost of living is becoming unbearable, the economy is tanking because of the orange man's policies and his tariff war against other countries. Now, a lot of Americans are actually realizing that I can actually look for a job online and live in another country. I don't have to live in the States. That's why you'll see a lot of internetpreneurs going to live in Europe, in countries like Spain, the UK, and Germany. Others are going to South America, places like Brazil. Others are coming to Africa, places like Kenya, Rwanda, Ghana. Places like that. People are actually moving out of the States. Others are going to Asia, in Bali, Indonesia, for instance. Bali is full of Americans who are working online. Now, those who have traveled a bit, those who have discovered that they can do something online and actually earn in US currency while living outside of the US, have discovered that their quality of life actually has gotten better. You work less and you live better. Well, because your dollars are going quite as long. Because if you look at right now, the cost of living, gas, grocery, rent, healthcare has outpaced wage growth for decades. In many cities out west, rent alone eats about more than 30 to 40% of the average income. That shows you how the cost of living has gotten so expensive, because the rents are not actually increasing to match the high cost of living that is actually happening right now. The second point that I want to point out real quick is, the leadership, because most Americans do not actually agree with the orange man and his policies. They actually see the political climate right now as being in chaos, because many Americans across the spectrum feel let down by the government and its policies and promises. When the orange man was elected, he promised to make America great again, but right now people are seeing their lives actually degrade further than improve. So those who can are actually packing up their bags and saying bye-bye, let me check out, and go to Portugal, Brazil, Bali, Thailand. And that has been actually widely caused by his trade war and tariff war on other countries that is actually causing prices of groceries, prices of things to actually hike up and go high. But what do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. The third thing that I want actually to talk about is the security. Some people actually feel that the states doesn't have that much, public safety net. Things like healthcare are important to most people because they feel like we are paying taxes and these taxes are not being used to actually give us safety nets like healthcare. Things that way poorer countries than most states in the United States, in Europe, are offering their citizens. Let me know in the comments. I don't know what you think about today's episode. I don't know how you feel that life is going for you in America right now. Would you consider actually jumping ship and moving to another country? Let us know in the comments. Engage with us. Let's communicate how we feel. I'm your presenter, Joel Mugisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing. Hit that like button. See you on the next episode.